What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing good. Sorry I haven't made a video in a couple of weeks. I had some stuff I needed to take care of, but anyways, you guys know I work a couple jobs and everything. So anyway, I'm gonna try to do two stories this week. One's gonna be a prison story, and then the one I'm gonna do tonight, it's kind of a crazy, kind of a weird thing that happened to me and one of my friends, like back in I think it was like maybe '98 or '99. So it was a while back when your boy was still young and like in really good shape. But anyways, hope you guys like this story. It's about the Superstition Mountains. We went for a hike there. Um, so back in like '98, '99, when I was still working at SMU at the state prison, um, Florence, Arizona. I had this roommate named Mike. Um, he worked there at the prison too. That's where I met him, and he was in really good shape. He was into like rock climbing, hiking, backpacking, like camping. Like he did that stuff like all the time, and he had a jeep. So that was like his lifestyle basically. And so like we ended up becoming really good friends, and then we ended up becoming roommates actually. And so like I started doing a lot of like hiking and camping with him and stuff, and like a lot of times like we would bring girls. We had a lot of fun. I ended up getting a jeep too. So anyway, so he had been telling me for a while like he wanted to take me on a hike to the Superstition Mountains. Like he was just saying like it was really cool, and like he was saying like we were gonna hike all, like he wanted to hike all the way to the top. He said he had been like hiked up to all the way to the top once with his dad like years earlier, and they ended up like camping overnight or something. But he said it was like really weird. Like they kept like hearing voices, and like like they thought somebody was like harassing them or something. Like, and I guess luckily their dad had a gun with him, so he ended up firing a couple of shots in the air, and then they ended up like, I think they didn't sleep at all that night. They ended up like staying up all night because just a bunch of weird shit going on. Like, so anybody that knows anything about Superstition Mountains, like they're kind of like mysterious. Like there's a lot of legends, and a lot of people think they're haunted because there's been a lot of deaths up there, like going all the way back to like the like the when the Native Americans lived there, and they fought with the white man over it, and like a lot of natives were killed there, I believe, and I'm sure a lot of cowboys, white men were killed there too. And but anyways, like a lot of people died, like I think like prospecting for gold and stuff like that. Like people were murdered, like killed over gold and stuff. So just a lot of deaths, a lot of like creepy, mysterious things like that happened at that mountain, right? So anyway, so like um he ended up convincing me to like go, and we were gonna hike all the way to the top, like I said, right? And like so the day we ended up going, like we came prepared, like we weren't gonna stay the night. I was like, I don't really want to camp out all night there. I don't know, I just thought it sounded kind of boring. But I told them we can go all the way to the top, and then just like, I don't know, just like look at the view or whatever, and then we'll hike back down, because I was in really good shape back then too, so I was down, to do it. So anyway, we had all our gear ready. We had like he had like some brand new flashlights, brand new batteries and everything. So we were prepared, right? Because it's like it's like a pretty long hike all the way to the top. I think it's like maybe like 4 or 5 hours. I think it's about that long. So we were gonna go all the way to the top, and then we were gonna chill for like maybe like about an hour and just like rest and stuff, and then we were gonna hike back down. So We had backpacks, and I brought my gun too because I wanted to be prepared, because he was like saying that, well, supposedly there's like some, I don't know if it's true or not, but there's like some weird ass people that like live up there on top of the Superstition Mountains. I don't know if that's true or not, but I was like, fuck that. I want to be prepared, So I just had like this little, it was like a 380 that I used to carry sometimes, but I had some federal rounds that I always loaded with high velocity hydroshocks. Like if anybody knows anything about bullets, it's like a really powerful bullet. But anyway, so I brought that with me, and so on our way like up the mountain, like it was weird because like so it started to get dark like maybe about halfway up the mountain. Like we were already like maybe about halfway to the top, or yeah, like it had started like really going up, right? So we were headed towards the top, and then like about three quarters of the way up, like when it really started to kind of get dark, I would say it was maybe like around, I want to say like maybe about 7 p.m. Or no, I take that back. It was a little bit later because I think we actually got kind of a late start for some reason. I think it was maybe like about, I want to say like about 9:30. I think it was about 9:30 p.m. So like it started to get dark because I think this was like probably about 3.5 hours into the hike. So like our flashlights started to go out. Like my flashlight went completely dark, and then his flashlight was still kind of working, but it was dim. Hey, have a good night, man.
Yeah.
And so like, which was crazy because they were brand new flashlights and they had brand new batteries in them. But I don't know, maybe it would have been better to take some old flashlights that he knew, he'd already battle tested or whatever. But yeah, I mean, what are the chances of that? Like one flashlight, my flashlight went completely dark, and then his flashlight was like super dim. It was still working, but it was like really dim, right? So we were probably about three quarters of our way up to the top. So when that happened, obviously he was like, fuck, we're gonna have to turn around because it's not safe to hike all the way up to the top with no damn flashlight. It's gonna be like pitch black in a few hours, right? So like we were like, fuck. So we were like really bummed and everything because I wanted to go all the way to the top, but we ended up turning around, and so like this is when it gets really weird because so we turn around and we start heading back, and like I had to stay really close to him because like I said, his flashlight was the only flashlight that was still kind of working, like maybe about 25%, so he kind of had it like right in front of his feet, and then we were just like going as fast as we could because we didn't know when the flashlight was gonna completely go out, right? And it was starting to get really dark. So then we start hearing like footsteps, like somebody's following us, like no joke. Like at first I thought maybe it was like an echo of our feet, right? But we kept hearing like we would stop walking because he noticed at first. He was like, do you hear fucking footsteps? He's like, I thought I heard footsteps, and I was like, what, are you fucking serious? So then I started listening for it, and I started hearing them too. And I know some people are gonna say like, you guys are probably just hearing the echoes or whatever, but a couple times we waited for like maybe about 10 seconds or something, and then we would hear like what sounded like footsteps, and then like maybe like some rustling like in bushes or something. So I mean, I don't think it was an animal because it didn't sound like an animal. It sounded like more like something heavy, like human footsteps. But but then it got really weird because we started hearing like like voices, like a couple of times, like I thought I heard him say my name, and I was like, "What, dude?" And he was like, "What?" He's like, "What? What are you talking about?" And I was like, "You just said my name." And he's like, "Nah, bro." He's like, "I didn't say your name, you know." And I'm like, "Dude, shut the fuck up! Don't be trying to scare me, you know." And then he was like, "Nah, dude, like seriously, I didn't say your name, you know." And then the same thing happened to him. I think a couple times, like where he was like, he turned around, he was like, "What's up, bro?" And I was like, "Dude, I didn't say nothing, you know." And then he like said that he heard somebody say Mike, you know, and I was like, "Man, let's just get the fuck out of here, bro." So we were like practically running, but like I said, he had his flashlight and it was like super dim, so we had to be real careful because we almost fell a couple times. And I don't think there was any like real like dangerous drop offs. There might have been a couple that were pretty steep, but I mean, still, you don't want to like trip and like hit your head on a rock or something like that. But anyway, so we were like maybe about a quarter of the way from like getting back to his Jeep. Like we could see his Jeep. It was like kind of, you know, down below a little bit, and it was still kind of far away, but we could actually see the Jeep, right? So, you know, he like kept telling me, "Dude, I hear them fucking footsteps are getting closer," you know, and I was like, you know, like, man, like I don't know, dude, like we might just be tripping out, but you know, I was like, I keep hearing shit too, right? So he was like, he goes, fire off some warning shots, you know. So I was like, fuck it. So I pulled my gun out, and I know this is illegal as fuck. Like I could have gotten in big trouble probably, but I pulled my gun out. First I yelled and said, "Hey, if there's anybody fucking out there, if you're following us, you better turn the fuck around. I got a gun," you know. And I think I had actually said that like further back, right? Like when we thought we heard footsteps, like I think I yelled something like that, like I got a fucking gun, so unless you have one too, you better turn the fuck around, you know, whoever you are. But so I ended up pulling out my gun. I think I had already locked and loaded too. So I ended up pulling out my gun and I just like shot like two or three shots out in the air like that. I went pow 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 like that. And then we fucking ran. We ran the rest of the way to his Jeep, you know, and we ended up getting the fuck out of there. But it was, you know, it was kind of an adventure. It was kind of crazy. You know, maybe we just were tripping ourselves out, but I swear it was pretty freaking weird, man. Like we were hearing like our names, and then it sounded like somebody was like following us, like more than one person, like footsteps, you know, like a bunch of people or something. But anyway, so I actually wanted to tell another story that has to do with this story. It's about the Superstition Mountains. So I ended up, because I used to work with this other CO at at another unit, and he ended up telling me this story when I told him what happened to me and Mike. Um, he ended up telling me, you know what? He goes, "I believe you," because he goes, "Let me tell you what happened to me and my dad when." He said his dad took him camping when he was a kid. Like he said, it was just him. I mean, not camping, hiking. He said his dad took him on a hike to the Superstition Mountains when he was a kid. I think he said he was like maybe about 7, and it might have been the same trail that we were on too. That's what he was saying. It sounded like the same trail, right? And he said what happened was, but he said they didn't go all the way to the top. They just went like maybe about halfway, and then they turned around because you know he was starting to get tired because he was a little kid, right? And but he said the same thing though. Like it was starting to get dark. And he said what ended up happening was, I think they were unprepared too. Like they didn't have a flashlight, or actually, I think their flashlight went dead too. That's what he was saying. That it was crazy because their flashlight went dead too, right? And so he said they kind of got lost because I guess they couldn't really see. And he said the craziest thing happened. He says And I don't know if I mean this true story is true or not. I mean, this is just somebody telling me a story that happened to them, like I'm telling to you. But he sounded like pretty sincere, like he was like really telling me something that really happened to him and his dad, right? But anyways, he was saying his family comes walking like out of the dark, like out of nowhere, and he swears up and down that they had a lantern, like an old school lantern, and it. He said they were dressed like damn like people back in like the early 1900s or something, like I don't know what you call that, like I don't know, like Western wear or just like olden days wear, I guess, or something. But he said the man had a lantern, and there was a lady with him, and I think he said like a couple of kids, and he said the man comes walking up to them and says, how y'all doing? He's like, folks look lost, and he said the dad's eyes, like he goes, I just remember like my dad's eyes got really big, and he kind of started. He was like, yeah. He's like, he's like, yeah, we got a little bit lost. Our flashlight's not working. And he said the man just kind of looked at the flashlight in his hand, and he's like, yeah, he's like, we can show you the way out, if you would like. He's like, just follow us. And so he said, the dad was like really quiet, and he said he didn't really think nothing of it at first, because he was he was 7 years old. He said he was thinking like, oh, that's, these people are just weird, like from a cowboy movie or something, like. But he said he just figured like maybe they're just like, I don't know, like in costumes for some reason or something like that, right? Um, so he said they followed them, and then like when they got like almost to where you get back from the trail, the man told them like, you just keep going that way, and you'll be fine. So he said the dad was like, thank you, thank you very much, and then so like he said they started walking off, and he said like they kept looking back. Him and his dad kept looking back at them, and then he said they both turned around for like a second, and then he said he looked back again, and they just like were gone, like they just like disappeared. And he said the dad was like, holy fuck, or something like that, and then he said he was like, Daddy, where did they go? And he was like, I don't know, son, let's get the hell out of here. He's like, he goes, I think they were ghosts or something. And but yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool story that he told me, but yeah, that's a pretty mysterious place, if you don't know anything about them, if you've never been there, Superstition Mountains, look them up in Arizona. I think I forgot to mention that, but I just assumed most people know that that's where they're at. It's like I guess it's like considered like, I think like East Mesa or Apache Junction. I don't remember, but yeah, in Arizona, Superstition Mountains. But anyways, that's another story for now. I hope you guys liked it, and till the next one, you guys take care, homie Big Cisco. Peace.